Coming up this week on our Halloween edition of the Center of It All. Fall is a time for pumpkin picking and corn mazes. We show you how farms in the area get ready for the busy season. Mel shows us how to pair pork and apple muffins, and I show you a quick and easy do-it-yourself Halloween decoration. It's all right here on the Center of It All. Good morning and welcome to the Center of It All. Penns Valley Elementary students have something to smile about after hosting a brisk but successful 4K. We went to check out the race and find out the motivation behind it. It was cold, it was early, and for some, it was long. But that didn't stop students or community members from coming out to run in the 4K. Penns Valley Elementary hosted a mini-thon last spring to raise money for the 4 Diamonds, whose aim is to conquer childhood cancer and assist children who have it. Last year, the students at Penns Valley raised over $4,000 to donate. This run alone, they raised over $1,000, and that exceeded their expectations.
Really a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought the kids were going to be scared to try to run this far, but as I said, we've got almost 90 people coming out, and they think they can do it, and I'm so proud of them.
It was just a great chance to get some exercise and also support Thon. So my sister's a teacher at Penns Valley, so she let me know, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity.
The teachers sent out emails, hung posters, sent flyers home with the kids to try and get the word out. And it worked. Their hope was 50 runners. They got over 90.
To do something that we can involve our 5th and 6th graders as well as our high school students and some of the community. A lot of the kids last year who were 4th graders worked really hard to plan the mini-thon, and 5th and 6th aren't involved as much, so we wanted to give them a chance.
They wanted this run to bring both the students and the community together for a cause. They even got some outside help.
There are several people who are not involved with our school at all who are coming. We've got a lot of family members coming as well, so I think we did pretty well.
But despite the struggles, people were happy and excited to be there and willing to help any way they could.
It's just another opportunity to support that cause.
The adults weren't the only ones excited. Students who ran said that running for a cause made it even more important.
It feels worth it for knowing that kids get money so that they can be cured.
It was very cold and very hard to run without losing your breath very quickly. But knowing that you can do it for children with cancer and raising money for them, it makes you feel good inside. Yeah, it's hard to see that kids have a very bad sickness of cancer, but knowing that the school can do this, it's very appreciating.
For the teachers, that was one of the important things, that the students were willing to help and raise money for the 4 Diamonds and to stay active.
Hopefully some fitness. We've got our gym teacher, Mr. Milner, teaching these kids how to work every day in the gym, so we're hoping that they're working on their physical fitness, and also just that it's fun to run and to raise money for something like this.
Penns Valley isn't the only school getting together to raise money. Penn State does their own thon every year for the 4 Diamonds, but another school in the district, Center Hall Elementary, is also hosting their own mini-thon in the spring. And Penns Valley teachers say they're excited for them. And when asked at the end what the best part of the day was,
running and raising money.
Penns Valley will host a second mini-thon for the 4 Diamonds in the spring. When we come back, we head out to the farm for a behind-the-scenes look of some fall festivities. Welcome back. October means Halloween, pumpkins, and corn mazes. I went to talk to some farm owners to see how they prepare and get ready for the busy fall season. Almost all farms open for fall festivities are working, functioning farms, but they go the extra mile to make their farm open and available to the public during the October months. Ard's Farm in Lewisburg is no different. And though it is a bit of a drive for people in State College, the Ards say they do have quite a bit of people make the trip. And having their farm filled with people during the weekends of October is one of their favorite sights.
I always love having people here. Whenever we have events, I just enjoy having people in the farm.
Their fall festivities include things like hay rides to the pumpkin patch for pumpkin picking, a corn maze, and a children's corn maze as well. And the planning for the October season? Well, it starts in January. Things like what theme to make the corn maze and how they can improve the general experience that people have when they come to visit the farm.
We sometimes try to look at what's hot and new as far as, what are parents doing with the kids, what are kids into. Last year we did fairy tales as a theme because of, all the hype with some of the fairy tale movies that came out,
And we try really hard as far as flow goes to make sure that people can come and have a good time, and no matter how many people are here, that they don't feel like they're in this huge crowd and standing in long lines, that they come and they can enjoy time with their family. And of course there are a few lines and parking isn't always the easiest, but once they're in the park, our goal is to make sure that they just have a really good time with their family.
The farm is about 130 acres. Hayrides are offered to the pumpkin patch, and all the pumpkins are grown right there on the farm. The Ards say that the fall season is definitely their busiest time of year, and because of that, they almost double their staff, with both new employees and returning ones.
We've been very lucky. We have some great high school students that started with us in high school and come back when we need them, even though they're in college, or even if they've graduated, they still come back and help us out.
And with so many people coming and going by the thousands over the weekends, safety is always something that they put a lot of thought into, because that is their main priority.
Put myself in a customer's position and what possibly could somebody get into and not take it for granted. Safety's first. I mean, up and up, safety is first. And if you keep that, it'll be fine.
So what can you do to make your own experience enjoyable? According to the Ards, simple things like being patient and understanding while waiting in lines, and remembering that the farms are a functional and working place with things constantly on the move.
Be mindful while they're here that we are still an operational farm, and just to keep that in mind, that things may be happening that we need you to just kind of be aware of and be cautious of.
It is our farm. We work very hard to keep it clean. Just don't throw your garbage in the corn maze. Treat others as you would want yourself to be treated. I think that's a really good way to sum it up.
And they have been on the move for about 25 years, which is the theme of their corn maze this year. And for them, being open and available is important because without them, some people wouldn't even be able to see a farm.
Years ago, everybody had an uncle or a grandparent or somebody who had a farm, so you had the opportunity to go to a farm. And these days that doesn't exist for most families. So if it weren't for these kinds of opportunities, a lot of children would never see a farm and have no idea really what existed and what happened on a farm. Seeing families here and seeing them have a good time. And at the end of the day, when they can say, you know what, we've been here for 5 or 6 hours, we have enjoyed every minute of it, it was, a great experience, that's the best part. That makes me feel like it was all worth it.
They said that traffic through their farm increases to thousands over the fall weekend. When we come back, we take our fall festivities indoors and into Mel's kitchen. Welcome back to the center of it all. The crisp, chilly air calls for some warm recipes and apples for dessert. And this week, Mel has the perfect toasty warm meal.
The only thing better than a tailgate at Beaver Stadium on a beautiful fall day is when my kids are coming home for a tailgate at Beaver Stadium on a beautiful fall day. And this weekend, they're going to be feasting on a couple of my tailgating fall favorites. I'm going to be handing out my apple, raisin, and pecan streusel muffins for breakfast and serving up my succulent crock-pot apple and onion pulled pork sandwiches for dinner. Let's get started. And I've got a 6-pound pork shoulder, otherwise known as a pork butt. And if you're wondering about that name, it dates back to colonial times when these inexpensive cuts of meat were stored in casks or barrels that were called butts. And they were shipped from Boston to the colonies. And when they arrived wherever they were at their destination, the people would simply say, the Boston butts have arrived, or the butts from Boston have arrived. So I've melted 4 tablespoons of butter in my electric skillet, and I'm going to heat this to about 300 degrees. And I'm going to season this liberally with garlic powder, fresh grinding of sea salt. And pepper. I like to use a peppercorn blend because it's got a lot of great different peppery flavors in it, but black pepper is just fine. And I'm going to brown this pork on both sides, and it's going to take about 10 minutes per side. And while this first side is browning, we're going to get our other ingredients into the crock pot. And I'm starting with 2 really big onions that have been coarsely chopped, and about 3 or 4 really nice sized apples. These are Fuji's, and I just picked them off of my tree last night. So they're going in. Now I've got some aromatic spices and seasonings. I'm going to add 2 whole cinnamon sticks, 2 whole bay leaves, 6 whole cloves, and 6 whole allspice. And I'm going to season this mixture with the same seasonings I used for the pork. Nice amount of garlic powder, nice amount of sea salt, peppercorn blend to taste, and I love pepper, so I use a copious amount in my pulled pork sandwiches. It's been about 18, 19 minutes, and this is golden brown on both sides, and I'm just going to very carefully stick my fork in and pick this up at one end. See how beautifully brown that is on the bottom? And that's the fat side, known as the fat cap, or the top side. And we're going to very carefully, we're just going to pick this up and put it into the crock pot, fat side up, and that's the side with all of those wonderful seasonings. Now I'm going to add a half a cup of apple juice to our pan. I'm going to use a spatula to deglaze this. Gets all those wonderful brown bits loose from the bottom. This is where all of your flavor's at right now, folks. Now I'm going to carefully unplug my skillet. And as soon as this subsides just a little bit, and again, I'm working kind of backwards here, I'm left-handed, so I'm going to try to do this without hurting myself. I'm going to take my skillet and I'm going to pour all of these drippings into my crock pot. I'm going to put the lid on here and program this to cook on high for 2 hours, on low for 6 hours, and on warm for 2 hours, and then it's time to pull our pork. And a little tip from Mel is when it comes to tailgating, I like to do this right before I go to bed at night so that in the morning it's cooked all night long and it's ready for me to pull the pork and take it to the stadium. Because I couldn't keep our hungry camera crew here 8 hours today, I actually made some pulled pork last night. And I used a slotted spoon to remove all of my apples and onions from the liquid. I took the pork roast out and I began pulled it into bite-sized pieces with my fingertips. The bone pulls right out, slippery smooth and meat-free. And the first thing I do is I mix my pork with my apples and onions, and I'm going to begin adding the drippings to the pulled pork. And the secret is to only add enough so that it moistens and flavors the meat. You don't want a soggy mess up in your pulled pork sandwich. Just enough for flavor. And I'm going to start with about a half cup. And as I mix, I'm going to take my time and allow it to sit about 2 or 3 minutes in between additions of the drippings to allow the pork to actually absorb all of the liquid. When you live in Happy Valley, all roads lead to Beaver Stadium. And for me, there's no two ways about it. Tailgating is my favorite sport. It's all about fun, friends, and food. You can't lose at tailgate. For these and all of my Happy Valley recipes, just go to my website.
Be sure to tell us what some of your favorite fall recipes are on our Facebook page. When we come back, I show you a quick and easy way to decorate your home for Halloween and introduce you to our anxious beagle looking for her new family. Welcome back to the center of it all. Now this week, instead of apps, we try crafts. Now I am not a crafty person, but I'm going to show you how to do a quick do-it-yourself mason jar candle for your upcoming Halloween party. Even for somebody like me who struggles to be crafty, this one was fairly simple. All you need is a mason jar, some different color spray paint. I went with orange and black for the Halloween feel, a roll of vinyl, and you can get all of this stuff at any craft store. I went to Michael's, some ribbon to tie around the top, and some tea light candles. Now, as far as the patterns go to put on the mason jar, all I did was Google search some Halloween images. So I have the jack-o'-lantern, I did the witch. Today I'm going to do the spider. So I went and just printed out a simple image, kind of resized it to how I wanted it, printed it out on a piece of paper. Now I'm going to place it onto the vinyl, and I'm just going to do that with a pen, and it shows up pretty well. So I just finished tracing the spider onto the vinyl, and now the easy part, I'm just going to cut it out. So I've got my spider cut out, and now we're gonna put him on the mason jar. So first you're gonna start by taking off the lid, and it doesn't matter what size mason jar you get. You can do this with smaller ones, you can do it with bigger ones. You just have to adjust the size of the image when you print it out. And you're gonna take the lid off because when you spray paint it, you're gonna put it upside down so that the spray paint doesn't get inside, and you're gonna spray it like this, so you don't want the lid on. So we've done that. Now you're gonna take the back of the vinyl off and get to the sticky stuff. So I peeled the vinyl off of the back. Freaky, huh? And then you're just gonna stick it on the mason jar. You can do the front, you can do the back, whichever way you want to do it. I'm gonna, I don't like spiders. And you can kind of place it before you press it down. Kind of shape it to how you want it. My legs got a little big for the mason jar, but it's Halloween, it's creepy, right? Okay. Then, once you kind of have him how you want him, you're just gonna press him down. Make sure he's really good and stuck on all sides of the mason jar, because if you're not careful and you spray paint it, it's gonna get underneath. And you'll get something like this. And now you're gonna get whatever color spray paint you want, and we're gonna go outside and we're gonna give them a little color. So we have our mason jar and we have our vinyl cut out on the mason jar. Now I came outside to spray. I'm gonna make the spider black. So I'm just gonna flip it upside down, and I kinda like to start on the side that doesn't have the pattern on it, just to make sure that I don't spray too much paint. And so what you're gonna do is you're just gonna do little spurts. You really kind of want to take your time. If you go too fast or spray too much, you're gonna get that dribbly look, which is okay for Halloween. It's not the worst thing that can happen. But you just wanna hold it a little bit away, and then I just have it on this cookie sheet so that it's easier to spin. And make sure you get down along the bottom too. You can see the mason jar is pretty nice and covered. So I've let my paint dry for just a couple minutes. You're gonna wanna pull the vinyl cutout off while it's still wet, but you're going to want to let it dry a little bit. So I've let it dry for a couple minutes, and then you're just going to let that dry for 24 hours, then you're going to clean it up a little bit, and we're going to put a candle in it. So I let the jar sit and dry for about 24 hours. So now I'm just going to flip it the right way. And this is totally optional. You can add a ribbon. I chose to. You can see I did it on the ghost and the pumpkin. But I'm just going to add some ribbon over the top. I'm going to flip it towards me. Again, you don't have to do this, but if you want to. So then, when that's all done, you're going to take your tea light candle. You're just going to trim the wick a little bit, drop it in. I'm going to light it up. And that's it. Now you can make as many of these as you want in all different shapes or sizes. It doesn't matter. You can just print out the pattern, put it on the mason jar. You can use it for your Halloween parties. You can put it up along the sidewalk during trick-or-treating. But that's how you do a quick and easy do-it-yourself Halloween candle for your home. Speaking of homes, we have one beagle at Nittany Beagle Rescue who is waiting for her new home and her new family.
Thanks, Alicia. I'm here from the Nittany Beagle Rescue with Princess. She's the only beagle we have at the kennel right now, so she's desperately in need of a foster home. She's a very sweet girl. She just had a vet checkup. She got spayed. She had her teeth checked out. She's very healthy. She's a very sweet girl. She likes walks. She's good with people. She's okay with other dogs. She's good with kids. We just really want her to get in a foster home now because she's all by herself at the kennel. She's good in the car. She gets excited for car rides, and she is very well behaved in the car as well. She just lays down and gives you those big innocent beagle eyes. So if we could get her fostered, that would be really great.
That wraps up this week's Center of It All. Enjoy your week and happy Halloween.